ID. Oh, my good friends in the audience joining us tonight. Truckin City Live, we are bringing you again a show called Frontline. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us with Driving with John's channel, we simulcast with him as well. Y'all sit back. It's about to get real, my friends. Beyond the numbers, beyond the headlines, we're about to uncover and look into why the mail is late. Tonight on Frontlines.
From the trenches of trucking experience and a passionate heavyweight in the Truth and Broadcasting Network. Welcome to Truckin City News Frontline Podcast. Hosted by the most opinionated broadcaster on YouTube, BossMan.
Yeah, we're cutting that off a little early tonight. Making changes, making changes. So you guys, you don't know what's coming. What is coming, though, is some good, quality, lively discussion. We're talking about news, we're talking about issues, and we're talking about things you need to know about. We bring you the stories. You bring us the debate. It's just that simple. We're live tonight right now with no guests. My guess is everybody's got something to do. I know where one is. I almost didn't make it tonight. So I was beating the trail all the way from North Carolina all the way to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. That's where I'm sitting right now doing my 10-hour break. We like bringing you the stories twice a week. Twice here on Frontlines. We do it Wednesdays normally and on Saturdays. And the reason I didn't do it last night was because I had to drive all the way through till midnight. And I didn't think anybody would want to wait and hear my boring story midnight at night. No. So I just made arrangements to come out tonight. Not a problem. I'd rather be a day late than $1 short any day. Anyway, if you'd be kind enough in the comments, let me know what channel you're watching this broadcast on. Put DW if you're driving with John. Put TMC if you're watching on Truckin City Media. Certainly be helpful to know. I want to recognize a fella here because John's not on the channel with us right now. Apparently a new member to Driving with John, Erica Kennedy. You made a smart choice. He'd tell you himself, but he's not here with us. He may pop in later on. In the meantime, don't go anywhere. If he joins us, you would not want to miss it. Poet's in the house. God bless you to Poet. Good seeing you, my man. I'm glad you decided to stick it out with us. My rumor mill tells me you've got something going on the employment front. Good for you. I hope all goes well. I have my wife in the house with us. We have Fake Trucking in the house. Boom to you, my friend. Well, let's get on to what y'all came here for. First of all, if you wouldn't be kind enough, if you're watching this, I'm making a special effort to bring you guys interesting facts and stories to start each and every one of these broadcasts out. I enjoy the process. It's a lot of fun. But if you think of something and want to add to the show by sending me an interesting story, whether it be a news story, an interesting, story about someone in trucking, anything, do us a favor. Send us something in the mail. Let us know what you'd like to see on this show to thatstruckinnews@outlook.com. That's truckinnews@outlook.com. We are going to get to these stories very soon. I wouldn't want to miss it. If you have something that's very valuable to the audience and the trucking industry, I'd certainly love to have it come across my screen. So there you go. Send us a story if you want it told here. We are also going to open up the phone lines after I've gone through my initial story, 860-785-3547. If you'd like to call, sound off on your opinions, let us know what you think of tonight's story or anything that comes from it. Certainly give us a call. We are the only show that I know of where you can call in and sound off. Most other people just do it by the chat and chat only. I do it by the phones, and there's also a pinned link at the top of the chat box if you want to come on up and stir up trouble with me. I'd love to have you on. If you got experience and you got an opinion, by all means, come one, come all. Meantime, let's talk about Beyond the Numbers. I come up with that title because it's got an interesting little ring to it. We all worry about things from time to time. We all worry about age. We all worry about our effect our age will have on the industry. We worry about dollars and cents, making enough, making not enough, how much this costs, how much that costs. Well, we're all worried about things. Why worry? Because after all, you know what? In the end, it always works out. I'm going to introduce you to a fellow named Greg. I don't have any pictures, just picture this in your mind as I tell you this. Okay, guy named Greg, middle-aged man in his late 40s. Set the scene of Greg's life. He is a model truck driver, owns his own truck. He's going out every day. He's getting loads, making good money. He's really got his stuff figured out, but he's also under constant stress. Okay, it's a lot. You work, you do, you try. I mean, you really do. It's a lot on you. Okay. Greg finds himself constantly fretting about, number one, his age, because he's in his 40s. He's not as young as he used to be. He gets in and out of the truck. He's feeling aches. He's feeling pains. Everything's going wrong. You know what? He feels the weight of everything going down. Every day just gets worse and worse. It's taking him longer. It's getting harder to figure out. But he really loves the job. He's dedicated. He's going to get it done. Well, comes time, he's got to get his physical. And he's sweating this one. He's going in there. He's really worried about it because he's thinking, oh man, you know, I'm getting older. I'm getting young. I'm having trouble. I'm really gripping this one. So he goes in, he sits down at the doctor's office. It's running through his mind all the possibilities, all the things that are wrong, all the things that could be wrong, all the things that could be said. You know, maybe this, maybe that. You know what? He dreads it, fearing the doctor will come in with, oh, you got to do, you got to see, you got to take. Well, after a thorough exam, he goes in and he sits there and he waits and he waits and he waits. It takes forever the doctor to come back in. You know, those cold doctor's offices where they just keep you waiting. Well, doctor finally comes in and says, I'm going to pass you. You've got a good score. The doctor does say, look, you know what? Yeah, you should be worried. You are older. You've got to stay in shape. You've got to do things right. But the next point really sits home with it. He says, you know, the average age of a truck driver is 55. Dude, you're in your mid-40s. You've got plenty of time. You got nothing to worry about. You're in good shape. Greg's stunned. He's like, all right, no problem. So he leaves there rejuvenated. He feels great. It's a newfound sense of optimism that he now holds. He says, well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about the small stuff. Age is nothing but a number. He's feeling better. He's feeling unshackled. The moral is, age is not a limitation, but a mentality. No one's outlook can be any worse or better than the one you put on yourself. Don't let age be the thing that holds you back. 860-785-3547. If you have an opinion or a concern, give us a call. Sound off. Become part of the problem, or become part of the solution, not the problem. I'm winging it. Can you tell? Poet says, your lighting is dark. Yes, unfortunately, I don't have a lighting setup here. So, yeah, we're going to have to deal with that. I'm flat out of plugs. I just don't have any more. But thank you for the honest feedback on that one. Poet says he beat his by 15 so far. Amen. At your age, that's something to chat about, man. I'm good going for you. And that lighting comment came from my daughter, by the way. She's in the audience. So welcome to my daughter. Welcome to Poet. Thank you for the comments. Come on. And let the rain begin. If you hear the staticky background, that's what it's from. Anyway, so on to story number 1. By the way, I think I have one link to one of the stories. Once we jump off here, the link to the second story will also be there. So not to fret, not to worry. So let's talk about fraud and deception. Recent story in a news article. I forget where it came from. Just sitting here staring at my script. Talks about a Georgia man thinking he's slicker than a greased up fifth wheel. He decides he's going to play a fast and loose game with rules. Well, he says, I need to start this trucking company and I need to make it fast. What does he do? He starts applying for grants. He starts making applications for loans. He starts doing a bunch of crappy stuff. And soon, this fella gets nailed by the Atlanta DA's office, I believe it was, and falsified statements to Uncle Sam over the amount of money he was needing and the amount of money he could repay. And he even falsified documents to the FMCSA. That's a no-no. They caught wind of this, and they weren't very happy about it. So apparently they were doing an investigation on something he put in one of his FMCSA applications, and numbers didn't add up. So next thing you know, they got him. The U.S. Department of Transportation Inspector General caught wind of it and probably knows something smelled worse than a week-old gym sock. Those are my notes. So, gentleman named Roderick Billingsley finds himself indicted and on the way to court. So it turns out he was cooking up schemes left, right, and sideways. Not only was he putting in bad applications, but he was caught creating what they call fraudulent companies. He was on the mill. He was basically creating a bunch of companies, one after the other. Reincarnation is the term. I wrote that down. So bottom line is, if you want to start a company, don't be like Billingsley. Do it honestly. Because that kind of stuff is what makes the rest of us look bad. Once again, links will be in the description of the live. You're welcome to look it up. And certainly leave me a company. Leave me a comment. I need more of this. Can't you tell? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of that one. Personally, I think he's going to be spending quite a few years in jail. It wasn't long ago they had some shenanigans down in Texas where a fellow was caught doing just that very thing. I think he's currently spending 10 years in prison. So, I mean, if you're going to put something on an application, whether it's for a job, whether it's for an application for a loan, or God forbid if it's something with DOT or FMCSA, don't lie about it. They're going to find out. I mean, don't know what dude was thinking, but he certainly wasn't thinking straight, that's for sure. Wrongfully received $564,363. My question is, why should the numbers get so high? I mean, why wouldn't they catch him after like a couple of grand or $500,000? I mean, that is a lot of money. I mean, good Lord. I mean, I feel bad when I walk out without paying for coffee. I can't imagine not paying for, something like a loan application or not doing something right on a loan application. That just, oh man, I'll tell you what, that just is not set right with me. So if he goes to jail, more power to the government. They're doing the right thing. We need to get dishonest folks like this out of our industry. My understanding is the investigation is still ongoing, and his day in court for sentencing, anyway, is upcoming. So if I find a story that follows up on this, I'm certainly going to make note of it and put that up here as well. By the way, before we move further, I wanted to also set you guys wise to something I did over the last couple of weeks. Some of you may know about it, some of you may not, but I figured I'd let you know anyway. I've started Truckin City News on Facebook. So if you look down in the description of this video, you'll see the link for that. What I intend on starting to do is every time I look through my news feed, which I do once a day, just to look for ideas of things to talk about here tonight. I look through that and I'll post. What I'll start doing is I'll start posting those links and some of my opinions early and before I come on the show. So if you want to keep ahead of the show, definitely go to Truckin City News on Facebook. I don't have a group yet. Currently running everything off of That's Truckin', so that's not changing. But if you want to get ahead on what stories are coming up, or at least a little bit of an idea, check out Truckin City News on Facebook. Do me a favor, spread the word. Growth is a big thing. With me, I'm wanting to grow as fast as I can. So on that, I'm going to get on to story number 2 here in just a moment. But first, I want to give you guys a preview. I want to give you guys a preview of a short clip that I have on a video that you may or may not even know is uploaded. I put it up just about 4 hours ago. So I figured I'd give you guys a little sneak peek, as it were, if this will let me play it. To share audio, and I don't think it's going to let me do it. Well, we shall find out. I guess not. You just got an ugly look at me for nothing. Oh, well, go to Truckin City News. Look at my last video upload talking about what we started this whole thing out on a little bit, and that's about mental health. Mental health is important. Stress can weigh you down. And believe me, when it comes down to stress, I wholeheartedly believe stress is a thing of the mind. So I'm going to cue it up. I want to give you guys a little bit of a preview because there's a certain part of this whole thing that I think sends the message. I really do. A lot of people stress out every day, and I think they stress out sometimes needlessly. So what I wanted to do with this video I made was bring it home to the fact that stress is just a state of mind. And sometimes even the simplest things are what you need to remind you. Stress is just that. It's something that you can certainly live without, and you certainly don't need to worry about. Check this out.
The simplest thing can help us handle the daily grind and unwind. I recently heard an anecdote that I'll share with you, illustrating how something simple can save your life. The story has it that a man named Sam, who he worked for, is important, but that he was firmly entrenched in a busy lifestyle, one he enjoyed. He cared about his work, his family, and his pride and joy, which is his truck. He lived a rigid schedule and never missed a beat. One day he was behind and needed to take a 30-minute break. He looked around feverishly to find a rest area and get there before his clock timed him out. In the back of his mind, he's worried about life, family back home, and of course, as usual, the traffic ahead. So finding a rest area, he'd pull in and notice oddly that there's no one around. Great timing, he thinks. Okay, I'll get out and take this break. So he gets out, goes on over, and sits down under a well-shaded tree, closed his eyes, and concentrated on the noise of a nearby river. Realizing time had passed, he got back into his truck, looked at his clock. He'd been there over 45 minutes. Hey, no mind to it. He wasn't worried. Shit, I'll just make it up later. Even though he sat there extra time, he got very refreshed and got his thoughts together. He felt amazing. Later on, as he was in the door getting unloaded, something told him to look ahead to his next planned location and see what the weather was like. Had to make sure the coast was clear. It was just at that point when he realized everything is for a reason. Had he...
That right there is not a true story, but it might as well be. Some of the facts are true. But some of them are not. But I felt it important to remind you and everybody out there, that instead of stressing out about all of these crazy things we see on the news, all the craziness that exists in the industry, time to get back to basics. It's time to get back to simple things. Kick off the stress. Sit back. Take stock of what's important. You, your relationship with him, and the fact that you're still walking firmly planted on a planet full of amazing opportunity. That right there is about as basic as you can get. Everything else can wait. Don't stress. It makes you age faster. Story number 2 comes at us about the Postal Service. As you know, in recent weeks, months, years, I think, recently, Postal Service has been cutting back and they've been having issues. They've been challenged by finances, by ridicule, by controversy. Well, now you got something else coming their way too. It's not like they don't have enough, right? So they hire sometimes outside contractors. Well, it seems like big shots in Washington are getting all riled up about this because it seems like some of these independent contractors don't know how to do their job. So these lawmakers just passed something called the Mail Traffic Deaths Reporting Act. Sounds official, right? Well, basically what it is they want independent contractors that work for the postal system to start snitching on themselves, basically. As it turns out, there's a lot of them having accidents that are not reporting the accidents, and it's causing somewhat of an uproar. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever been involved in a simple fender bender or maybe scraped a mirror on your way out of a parking lot, or maybe you dented the wheel or something, or innocent enough, you didn't really think much of it, but you didn't make a phone call. Well, according to this bill and according to what they're trying to pass, if you're a contractor with the Postal Service, you do something that simple, you will lose your contract. You will be terminated, and you've got no hope ever getting back in there. TIG, my wife has a life-altering illness. I try to stay at home to help her as much as possible. Don't always work. I guess that's referring to earlier on. I appreciate that info. Seems like you really can relate down that one. He says, I drove down mentally. In retrospect, I didn't know how much that was affecting me. And it really can get to you. It's real easy, real simple. You don't even know it until it's too late, which is half the reason why A, I made the video, and B, I make the conversation. And it's probably almost apropos that I don't have any guests, because it allows me to relate to you guys one-on-one. I mean, I don't mind doing that at all. You know, a lot of times I can be entertaining and funny and challenging, debating and all that, but you're not going to listen to me if you don't think I'm telling you the truth. I mean, you know, whether the story in the video is true, and by the way, that's only 3 minutes. Well, I think less than 3 minutes out of an 8-minute video. So go watch the rest of it. It's just as entertaining and just as compelling to learn, because there's other tips and tricks in there from that video I also give to help you deal with stress. So it's a good video. It's a good thing. Good thing. Driving with John says, hey, he's caught up with us, at least by comments. And he says, laughing is the best thing for your health. Amen. Yes, sir. I totally agree with that. But I'm old. Oh, wait until you get on here, my boy. Wait until I see you. It's on, my friend. Poet says a couple of months therapy got me over that hump. Glad to hear, my friend. Glad to hear. You know, health is 90% attitude. It really is. My outlook is it's at 90% aptitude up here. If you think you're old, if you feel old, if you think old things, if you don't keep yourself constantly rejuvenated, refreshed, and looking to learn by what you do every day, it's real easy to lose hope and grow old fast. So, yeah, I'll give you half of that comment, John. I am old, but I'm not, because I'm young enough to know better. Don't mess with me. Anyway, as I was saying about the postal system earlier, I mean, now if you pull up to a traffic light, let's say you cut the corner just a little bit, and you just scrape a person's mirror on the way by, you're, by law, as a postal contractor now, you're required to report that. And what they're doing is they're passing this bill, making it, I don't know what the penalties are going to be, but they're making it even tougher. Because I think what it is, according to this news story, some people have caused serious harm and serious accidents and nearly, fatal injuries. And somehow these companies got away with not reporting it to the FMCSA or to their insurance company. I don't know how that happened. I didn't read into it or research back far enough because I didn't have enough time. But that's what's said in this article. Again, the links will be below. You can check me out and make sure I'm not wrong. Top secret mission. Wish I could join, but I have to give up my secret location. Yeah, I was just going to say on location, but you ruined it, boy. But yeah, I mean, if I personally, working for the company I work with, Landstar, I can't see how that's even technically possible. For you to cause a serious accident like that, anytime we have anything go on, we have to notify our safety department about anything and everything going on. We got to let them know immediately. And if we don't, we lose our contract. So, I mean, that much is already true by the time you're even employed anyway, because it's right in your contract. It's part of what you do. It's part of what you sign up for. So, I mean, how the Postal Service could get away with it is beyond me. Okay. I don't know if you're talking to John or if you're talking to me, but no, 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 I'm not old. It's up here. It really is. It's up here. But I appreciate the compliment. um anyway, yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves with comments here. Anyway, so yeah. Don't know what's going on here. Let me check. Do, 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 do. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah, to go on with the story, I am having difficulties. Bear with me just a second here. All right. So, I mean, as a Postal Service contractor, if you're thinking about not reporting or you're thinking about fudging numbers, think again. They're passing this bill, they're putting through more restrictions. I think it's high time we looked a little deeper into this, because reading some of the information on this report, I kind of now understand why the mail is screwed up as it is. I mean, every time I make even an out of route maneuver with FedEx, they're on me. They call me. I've never done Postal Service contracts myself, so I don't know how they are. But give me a break. If you're working for a government agency or somebody, don't go not reporting stuff, dude. That no, there's just no. I think that let me know in the comments. Do you think they deserve jail time for not reporting stuff? I mean, especially if it involves injuries or death. I do. I mean, I can't see where anybody would say otherwise, but yeah. Okay, we're having a chat war. Now my wife is on his side. Whose side are you on, dear? Collecting Social Security before me. Only by 3 years, dear. Anyway. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I kind of figured that. He's on location. He's trying his best. No, I don't believe that. I'm sorry. No, I refuse to believe that. Not with the stories you tell me. Sorry. Nope. And I'm not even going to publicize your age, my man. I'm not even going to go there. So let me ask you a question. Those of you in the chat, let me know. Call me up, 860-785-3547. Do you think the government's heading in the wrong direction? Do you think they're actually doing the right thing? Let me know in the chat. Tell me. I mean, because personally, you've heard me say it before. Safety's number one. You know what? We all have insurance. We all have responsibilities. We all have a reputation. Professionals, we aren't given that by accident. Okay. This is something I personally take seriously. And I would like to think the average person does too. Apparently, learning by this story, I guess I'm wrong. I don't know. There's more unprofessionals out there than I thought there were professionals. I don't know. Anyway, let me know in the chat. Let me see. Oh, you guys are still talking age. Good Lord. Come on now. Agree to disagree and move on. I'm playing with you guys. Here's an interesting question. Anybody out there in the audience ever actually experienced the case where someone's done something to you possibly and just brushed it, maybe hit and run, brushed it under the rug, said, oh, I ain't gonna worry about it? I mean, because I can almost see the sense in doing something like that. If you own your own truck and you're not hauling a postal contract or something that requires government oversight, I could see the sense in two people working out physical damage, between them, kind of thing. because I was listening to a podcast on the way up here. I do that frequently. And they were talking about a couple of guys got into a scuffle over a parking incident, where a bumper, actually a whole bumper was taken off. And, all the guy did was just called his company and said, hey, look, there's no sense making a fuss. It's on private property. Whatever it costs, I'll make good on it. And they actually straightened it out. No report was filed, no need to do anything. So no harm, no foul. But the postal system is something completely different. That is a different story entirely. John says, I think the mail contractors have a hard job, but they are paid well, but safety needs to be first. Yes. I think of them in the same categories like FedEx and UPS. I don't know if the Postal Service are a union. I don't know. I'm going to assume not, because they're paid by the government. So no. But because they are who they are, they're, in my eyes, equal to FedEx and UPS in terms of jobs, responsibilities, as you worded, John. So I think they need to handle themselves and do so professionally because of that. And you know what? It is what it is. I see your message there, buddy. If they come in, they come in. If not, they don't. Canada, you can start collecting at 60. Does that apply to the mail due, sir? No, I'm joking. Here, we're moving to Canada. No, I'm not. Down here it's 65 or 67. Anyway, I digress. Last question on this topic anyway, because I only recorded 3. My thoughts on this are that if you work for a postal contractor and you cause an accident or have injury and you fail to report it, I think there's jail time for that. And I think that's what they need to push. And that's what they need to put in this bill. What do you say, guys? Tell me in the comments. Do you think jail time would solve the problem? Do you think that would make people actually do what they're supposed to do? In fact, I'd even go one further and say, well, look, if you cause an accident and run away, currently nobody goes to jail for that. You're given a ticket and you're given a violation, of course. But I don't think, unless you're intoxicated or you're doing something completely nefarious, you're not taken to jail for something as simple as, you didn't see it or whatever the case may be. Classic hit and run, I don't think. But something that involves a government contract, I think you should. So let me know what you think. John says, contractors for UPS are owner-operators. Yes, I know that. They are in fact owner-operators. And some of them for FedEx are too, I think. I.e. me. I carry for FedEx on occasion. I'm considered an owner-operator. Look, at the end of the day, it's all about safety. The mail ain't going to get there if you're banging into everything. So why don't we stop, and instead of waiting until an accident happens and then cry headache and amnesia when things like this go through the news, here's a novel concept. Do an investigation and a background check first. Ding, 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 ding. What do we got for him, Johnny? If you do this stuff right to begin with, you're not going to hire half these yahoos that drive for the Postal Service anyway. Have you seen some of them lately? Oh, God, yeah. I'm going off on a tangent. Probably not. Don't know what he's talking about, but anyway, yeah. Hey, look, at the end of the day, these people mess up. They deserve what they get. Because honestly, this is serious business. I don't know about you, but I take every day in this truck seriously. I do my pre-trip, when I can talk. I do my pre-trips, my post-trips. I do all my paperwork. I get the job done. I get there on time. And I give everybody around me the benefit of the doubt. Now, by that, I mean, when I'm on the road, if you're merging, you're next to me, I'm not that greedy old biatch that decides, no, you come first after me. In my personal car, I'll take that one. But when I'm in the truck, I drive totally different. I mean, comment, let me know. Do you drive different in your personal car? Most of us probably do. But when I'm in this truck, I'm as professional as the day is long. I was on the safety committee for a few years. Mail or no mail, all incidents, accidents need to be reported. Yes, sir. That is true of most companies. But unfortunately, there are some companies that are too small to really enforce unless you happen to be busted in the act. I.e. the numbers of like 2 and 3 truck companies that really have no business hauling mail, but do. I can't think of any, but not every company is 50 fleet, 100 truck fleet. There are a number of companies, if you look, only got 1 or 2 trucks, and that's all they do. That's all they do. And kudos to them if they can handle it. I mean, if they have the right contract, if they have the right lane, and they're making good money. I mean, it's a great gig to be in, but honestly, if you don't do your job and you don't report stuff, you deserve what you get. I mean, it's just that simple. Getting your tank. That's an interesting way of putting it, poet. That's a good one. I'll have to remember that one. Last time I used tang in a sentence, I was drinking it. Anyway. Look, this ain't the solution that's going to solve every problem. It's not the most ideal thing. Passing a law on top of the very many laws we already have, I don't think it's the solution. You know what the solution is? The solution is driving safely. The solution is take your job seriously. The solution is not to sweat the small stuff. Now you see why I put all 3 stories together. Don't sweat the small stuff. Because at the end of the day, if you do it right to begin with, you don't sweat the small stuff, and you do the best damn job on the planet that you're capable of doing, all of this becomes irrelevant. Unfortunately, we live in that day and age where, relevancy doesn't always win the day. So, until that changes, we got to deal with what we got to deal with. So, oh, wow. I mean, you beat that by I was just about to hit the button to start the end music. John, welcome to the show. I'm glad you could join me. Well, don't do it. Don't talk to me then. Heck with you then.
Sorry about that.
You gonna talk to me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
First you came in and then you disappeared. I was like, what?
Well, yeah.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
I was about to lose my secret location.
Yeah, we can't have that.
On my top secret mission, no one can know my location.
Yeah. No,
top secret,
no, of course
top
not.
secret
So,
driving
Ed,
with John stuff.
Assignment, right?
That's right.
So, Ed, to your comment earlier, you said that contractors are owner operators and you think they have a hard job. So, add to that.
Okay, well, owner operators that run for the mail service, they work overnights. They don't work daytime. They never get a choice to work daytime. They all work overnight, but they get paid very, very well. But while they're working overnights, they're running against the the things that you run into at night, the people that are intoxicated, the people that are driving tired, including other truck drivers. But
yes.
So
yes,
it is what it is. They deal with the
there's a lot. I mean, driving overnight.
Driving overnight.
Yeah, driving night is not the same as driving during the day. So I fully agree there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I don't know if you heard what I said before you came on. I mean, do you think the solutions should start before they're hired, or do you think that stiffer penalties and jail time would solve that problem?
yeah, but you can't weed out everybody. You can't weed out every bad apple. So I think,
No.
better background checks, obviously, but then, yeah, I mean, if there's different penalties for people that are doing unethical and wrong things, uh,
Yep.
the people that are at least trying to do the right thing will do the right thing. But the people that want to break the
Yeah.
law, it's like anything, they're going to break the law. So.
Well, it's just like that first story I highlighted, the Reincarnation, and people are. I mean, they're pulling the wool over the government eyes all the time, and it takes sharp eyes looking at that to notice. But that's what ruins it for the guys like you and me that are honest. They're trying to actually do the right thing. It's a shame. It really is.
I agree.
Anyway,
I'm not really watching, so I haven't seen the comments or what you guys had talked about because I'm unable to get to my phone, but I can listen and talk.
Yep.
So
that's fine. Yeah. Solution is take responsibility for all your actions. This is coming from Paul, because he mentioned earlier, something along the same lines. So yeah, I mean, because I made a small recollection of something that I'd heard on a podcast where a guy was parking and took off a guy's fender, and rather than report it to the police, they wound up calling each other's safety departments and working it out for payment, and everybody was fine. So I mean, you take something like that, for example, nothing other than bumper, according to rules, my understanding is if you're working for the postal system, there's none of that. You can't do that. You have to report it. It is required. But yet some people get around that. How, I don't know, but I don't know. What's your thoughts, John? Real quick.
Sorry, I was doing something.
Distracted. I know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just repeat the end of the question and ignore the voice over the loudspeaker.
Yeah, well, when it comes to actually getting a report like that or talking to someone for like damage to your truck or something, you can work out between, two owner operators and two independent people, payment arrangements or damages, if you will. But if you work for the Postal Service, you can't do that. You have to follow certain policies and certain guidelines, and there's no room for error. So.
Well, as an owner operator, I think they have the freedom to handle incidents and accidents that happen to their truck, probably in any way they would like see fit. But if a company is willing to work it out with you, I don't see nothing wrong with working it out off the books, as long as it didn't affect the U.S. Postal Service's product. So.
Yeah. I mean, because you're on a contract, so you're required to abide by the terms of the contract. And I'm guessing one of the terms in that contract is you have to report any and all damages or any and all instances that come up as soon as it happens. So, if you don't report it, that's what's going to happen. So, I think it's already published. I think that if you fail to report stuff, you lose your contract for that. So what this bill exactly goes into detail on, moreover, what the contract already stipulates, I don't know. I'm thinking there's jail time involved, and kudos to them if that's what happens. Any last thoughts, John?
If it's gross negligence and it's something that's obviously hidden, or I would tend to agree with that. But if it's, you always have to leave the leeway open for the people that are just naive. So I appreciate everybody watching and listening.
Yes, and I don't know, at the beginning of the show, you had a new member pop in, so be sure and check that out. I'll try to see if I can recall quickly the name. So Erica Kennedy is a new member. That's who joined, and I welcomed that at the beginning of the show. So kudos to Erica for being a new member. And as always, we've already busted our butts. We've We've already done enough. We don't need more rules and regulations. What we need are safe drivers. Check out our new Facebook page, as I mentioned earlier, Truckin City News. Look up Grumpy Old Truckers, and of course, certainly Driving with John. I'm BossMan. I'm reminding you, trucks make the deliveries, but you make the difference. Check us out next week where we talk more stuff. Until then, remember, keep it real, keep the faith, and by all means, keep it rolling.